the first thing we want to do is read the question. What does the question tell us? The question says the rectangular garden shown below is 12 meters long and 8 meters wide. So we could see from the diagram they have a rectangle 12 meters long, 8 meters wide. It's not drawn to scale, meaning that this line is not 12 meters, this line is not 8 meters, but they drew an illustration to show us what this garden plot might look like. Now, they're asking us what is the largest number of rectangular seed beds, 3 meters by 4 meters, that can be made in the garden. So, if ever you live nearby somebody who does farming, right, or you live in those farm areas, at certain points in time in the year, you'll notice that wherever the plot of land is that they would be farming on, they would divide that plot of land, or they would plow it and clean it up and stuff, and depending on what they want to plant, they would arrange the plot area in such a way that it keeps the crops, let's just say, a little separated and organized, but at least gives them the opportunity to plant a couple different things, right? So if they're asking us what is the largest number of rectangular seed beds, 3 meters by 4 meters, that can be made in the garden, what they're asking us to do is take this rectangle and figure out what is the area of that rectangle, right? So we need to figure out how big the plot of land is. That's the first thing the farmer needs to know. What is the entire plot of land in terms of like the size that they have, how much land they have to work with, right? Because it makes no sense wanting to make 3 meters by 4 meters seed beds and we don't even have enough land. So let's find out what is the area of land we're working with. So the first thing that we should do is find the area of the land. So I'll write the statements in the space that I have, right? So the area of the land, so area of land because it's rectangular, we're going to find the area of the land by multiplying the length by the width. Alright, and they told us the length is 12 meters and they told us the width is 8 meters. So we're just going to multiply 12 by 8. And can you remember your 12 times tables or your 8 times tables? Can you remember what 12 times 8 is?
8? No.
Try again. Eight by 10 is 80, so you're close if you're in your 8 times tables, right? So what is 12 times 8? Found it? Because another way you could do that is 80 and add a 8 and add a 8 again. Anything? 96. There you go. So even if you looked in the 12 times tables or the 8 times tables, you should get 96. So 96 meters squared, right? Because we're dealing with area, we're going to have square units. And the unit here was meters, so that's why we have meters squared. So this is the area of land that we have, right? So the farmer have plenty land to work with. Now, he don't want to plant all at one thing because it's not guaranteed that when all of it bears, that all of it going to sell one time. So he wants to make seed beds so that he could probably do a few different things on the land, right? So let's find out what is the area of one seed bed, right? So the area of the seed bed is the next thing that we need to do. So area of the seed bed. And notice, to make life easier, he just say, well, alright, you know what, I have a rectangular plot of land. I'm going to use rectangular seed beds. So length by width again would help us find the area of the seed bed. Now the area of the seed bed, they said that we're doing 3 meters by 4 meters, right? So although the longer side, I should say, the longer side is stated last, it's still a rectangle, right? Because one side is longer than the other, so 3 by 4. And what is 3 by 4? What do you think is the area of the seedbed? 3 by 4 is? Very good, 12, right? And again, because we're dealing with area, we're going to have square units, and our units here being meters, so we have 12 meters squared. Now, we know the area of the land, we know the area of the seedbed, that's all well and good, but that's not what they want. They want us to determine what is the largest number of rectangular seedbeds that we could make. So this is what it might look like, right, visually. So the farmer, he plowed the land and he fixed it up and cleaned it up and thing. Now he know he have 96 meters squared area to deal with, right? And he wants to make these seed beds. So essentially what he's looking at doing is something like this. He wants to take this plot of land and divide it up into rectangular plots, smaller rectangular plots I should say, that would allow him to plant his crops, right? So let me use a different color. Let me use green. Right? So let's just say he was dividing it up into smaller rectangles. It could look something like this, right? Right? So this is just to give you a visual idea. This is not the answer, but this is just to give you a visual idea of what it is. Now, essentially, we're dividing the entire area of the land into smaller little rectangles, right? So smaller areas, smaller rectangular areas. You tell me what you think you might do, because we have an area over here, right? We have area of 96 meters squared, and we also have area for the seed beds. So if we're taking the larger area and trying to divide it into smaller equal areas, right, of 12 meters squared, can you think about how you could use those two areas to figure out the number of seed beds that we can create, right? So one of the things I could highlight is this, right? I just divide up the plot of land, half and then another half again. But if I were to think about it on that level of, okay, I divided it up, I divide the width in two equal parts. That's a width of 4 meters, so that's one way of looking at it. So I already have 4 plots with 4 meters width, and I could just simply divide the next way, right, halfway like this. And why would I do that? Because I did say that we want to create seed beds 3 meters by 4 meters long. So if from here to here is already 4 meters, then if I divide my width, my length, sorry, I should be able to get 3 meter distances, right? So I technically can do something like this, but I want something mathematical, right, involving the area of the land and the area of the seed bed to help me with being able to figure out how many of these seed beds I can get. So what I would do in a case like this is divide the area by the area of the seed beds, because the only thing I know is the area of the land is 96 meters squared, and I know that my seed beds are going to be about 12 meters squared. So what I want to do here to get the number of seed beds, right, so that's what we're going to work out now, number of seed beds you'll divide the area of the land by the area of one seed bed. So can you divide 96 by 12 for me? Can you divide 96 by 12 for me? So remember, whenever we're dealing with division, we're going to be looking at our timetables. We're going to see what number can go into 96, right? How many times the number 12 could go into 96? So I want you to look in your timetables for 96. So we just were able to obtain 96 from two timetables that I mentioned. You could go to either one, and I want you to tell me, what do you multiply 12 by so that you get 96? Right? So if we look carefully at what we have on our answers so far, you might be able to see that answer quite quickly. Right? What did we multiply 12 by so that we would get 96? So check.
Divide.
Yeah, divide. What we dividing by? We divided 96 by 12, right? But what are we going to get when we divide 96 by 12? What would we get? Check it quick for me. Tell me. Where again when you divide 96 by 12? 8. That's correct. 8. So the number of seed beds we can get from this plot of land is 8 seed beds. So we'll put that answer on our answer line, right? We can get 8 seed beds, 12 meters squared area, right? And like I was saying, just from the drawing as well, we would have seen it, right? We could get a total of 8 seed beds here, right? And the way that we would have gotten this one as well, you could do it like this, where you know that the area of the land is 12 by 8, and you know the area of the seed beds, you want the area of the seed beds to be 3 by 4. And you could easily just reduce this by doing a little division here, right? So how many times can 3 go into 3? 3 into 3.
6.
3 into 3. Into. Remember when we say the word into, we say we divide. And so how many times can 3 go into 3?
1.
That's it. 1. And how many times can 3 go into 12?
8.
You sure? Check it back again. How many times 3 going into 12? Check your 3 times tables. Quick. I tell you, learn them timetables by heart enough. I ain't guessing today.
36.
No, into is division. You did it correct just now when you did 3 into 3 is 1. So I want you to,
4.
right.
4.
That's what I need you to do, right? I need you to memorize them so you remember the words into and by. By means multiply, into means dividing, right? Okay, now let's do one more division, right? We have the number 4. How many times 4 could go into 4? How many times?
1.
Right. And how many times 4 could go? So you have the option. You could say how many times 4 could go into 4 because we do have a factor of 4 up here. We could do that, or we could say how many times 4 could go into 8, whichever one you want to work with. So you tell me, which one you want to cancel, the 4 or the 8?
8.
Alright, how many times can 4 go into 8?
2.
2 times, right? And now, to work out our answer, what we do is multiply 4 by 2. What's 4 multiplied by 2? 4 2s are 8. So you see, this is another way you could get that answer. So we could either find the areas and just divide, or if you don't want to work with such big numbers like 96 and 12, you could just work it out like this. It still is working out area over area, but it's leaving you with smaller numbers that you could easily cancel off once you remember your timetables, right? So you have options. You think you're good with this question? Like if you see your next one, you're good to go, right? Alright.